Hi everyone. I'm Mary from Susan's family. Today, I'm going to show you a cute rabbit Hanfu Kisslock bag, the Bay Laurel style. For this electronic tutorial, you can search susud.com on the website to check it out. This bag includes two sections, the main part and the accessories. Complete the main part first, then make the accessories. The main part consists of the lower part and the upper part, including the ears, arms, and the metal frame and strap. First, complete the crocheted parts, then sew them together at the end. Let's start with crocheting the lower part. The main part of the lower part will start from foundation chain. Work around the foundation chain to make it clear to see. I'll demonstrate using thicker yarn here. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Now let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number represents the round number. The stitch instructions column shows the stitches and increase or decrease situations needed for the current round. The total stitches column indicates the total stitches after completion of all stitches in the current round. A variety of stitches are used here. All of them are indicated in the chart. Now, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The cast on is 32ch. This means begin with the foundation chain. Cast on 32 stitches. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Hold the hook with your right hand. The slip knot at the start does not count as a stitch. Tighten it. Then make one chain. One chain is done. Continue with yarn over. Draw through. This is the second stitch. You need to crochet a total of 32 stitches here. Keep crocheting. Third stitch. Fourth stitch. Fifth stitch. One braid represents one stitch. The loops on the hook don't count in the stitch count. Everyone continue crocheting until you reach the required number of stitches. Now I've completed the starting chain. That concludes the foundation chain explanation. Next, let's crochet the first round. Our one is Dow2, 30x, W29x, V. Dow2 means starting from the second to last stitch of the foundation chain. Count back from the side of the hook. This is the second to last stitch. The number before the X indicates how many single crochets you need to make. This means you make 30 single crochets. Hook into the top strand of the second to last chain. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. One single crochet is completed. The braid on the upper right is the corresponding stitch. It forms a V shape with two strands. Continue by picking up the top strand of the left chains and making single crochets. The second single crochet is done. Keep working single crochets correspondingly in each stitch. Always pick up one strand and crochet. Keep crocheting until you reach the corresponding stitch count. The chart below shows 3 SC1. That means in the remaining chain of the foundation chain, work 3 single crochets. One, 2, 3. The 3 SC1 is now completed. Let's take a look. There are 2 strands on the other side of the chains. Pick these 2 strands and crochet single crochets. The single crochets on this side should be symmetrical with the ones on the other side. Work 2 single crochets into each corresponding space. Continue crocheting all the way down until you reach the matching stitch count. Place the yarn tail above the hook as you work. Weave in the ends as you go along. Pay attention not to crochet at the top position. After completing the corresponding number of single crochets, continue by making a SC2 on the left side. The insertion point is in the same space as the first stitch. This means you will work 2 single crochets here. The SC2 is completed. The corresponding stitch pattern for this round is now finished. Next, finish with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Insert the hook here. And draw through and once all the loops on the hook. Slip stitch completed. The slip stitch is not noted in the chart. In practice, you should finish each round with a slip stitch. This is the braid formed by the slip stitch. The slip stitch doesn't count as one stitch. You need to tighten it to prevent accidentally crocheting into it later. The first round is now completed. Now let's move on to the second round. Start with 1 chain as the beginning chain for the single crochet. The beginning chain does not count as a stitch. It is also not marked in the chart. Next, work 1 SC2 into the first stitch. The SC2 is now completed. After completing, continue with the stitches on the left side. Crochet 1 single crochet into each stitch according to the corresponding number. Everyone refer to the form and finish crocheting by yourselves. Now I have already finished crocheting the corresponding amount of single crochets. Next, we need to work 3 SC2 in these 3 stitches on the left, which means to crochet 2 single crochets into each stitch. First time. Second time. Third time. This completes the top corner position. Then continue crocheting one single crochet into each stitch. Complete the required stitches on your own. Keep crocheting until there are 2 stitches left on the left side. Now there are 2 stitches remaining. Crochet 2 SC2 in these 2 stitches. After completing, work 1 slip stitch. Tighten. This finishes the second round. Next, let's differentiate the right and wrong sides. You can see that the right side of the fabric has a clear texture. The wrong side has a blurry texture. We will use the side with the clearer texture as the right side of the entire piece. Now let's crochet the third round. Start with 1 chain. Then work single crochets evenly. Everyone finish crocheting this round on your own. After completing, check if the stitch count matches the chart. Then work a slip stitch. Tighten. That's how you finish the third round. Now let me show you how to count the rounds. Fold along the bottom edge. Each bump like this indicates 1 round. 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 rounds here. Let's move on to the fourth round. Start with 1 chain. Then work 1 single crochet. After the single crochet is finished, work 1 SC2 in 1. Next, work the single crochets 1 by 1 in sequence. Continue until you complete the required number of single crochets. Now I've completed the corresponding number of single crochets. Moving on, we encounter a position with parentheses. The number before the parentheses indicates how many times to repeat the pattern. Start with 1 single crochet. Then work 1 SC2 in 1. X, V, completed. Here you need to repeat the crocheting 3 times in total. Complete this part on your own. Now I've already finished it 3 times. Continue working single crochets. After finishing the single crochet, you can see that there are 4 stitches remaining now. We need to repeat twice. Finally, join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. The 4th round is completed. There are no new stitches in the 5th and 6th rounds. Work single crochets evenly. It's the same crochet method as the 3rd round. Everyone continues all the way to the end of the 6th round. Now let's move on to the 7th round. The number of rounds in this sample doesn't matter for reference. It's just about explaining the method. First, make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Then work 1 single crochet. Next, you'll encounter a new stitch, a for SC2 tog. Here, I'll demonstrate the method for the SC2 tog. First, work an unclosed single crochet. Hook into the adjacent stitch on the left. Pull through. That completes 1 unclosed single crochet. Then, insert the hook again into the left stitch. Work another unclosed single crochet. The second unclosed single crochet is now done. Yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. This completes the SC2 tog. Continue crocheting the corresponding number of single crochets evenly. After finishing the corresponding number of single crochets, you'll need to work X 3 times. First, work 1 single crochet. Then, work 1 SC2 tog. Start by working 2 unclosed single crochets. Yarn over, pull through. The SC2 tog is now complete. We will finish the remaining 2. Next, refer to the chart and crochet the remaining stitches. Finally, join with a slip stitch. Tighten the yarn. That concludes the 7th round. From the 8th round to the 20th round, it's all about crocheting the corresponding number of single crochets and SC2 togs. Follow the previous demonstrations and refer to the pattern to complete them. Now let's move on to the 21 round. I'll demonstrate the method for the 21 round using a sample. Pay attention that when crocheting normally, we start on the side closest to ourselves. Here, we need to start from the back. The stitch is located at the top left. First, make one slip stitch. Note that this slip stitch doesn't need to be tightened. And when making the first stitch, you can keep it slightly loose. This makes it easier to find the stitches later. This is the braid formed by the slip stitch. Make sure not to tighten it, otherwise, it will be difficult to pick up the stitches later. Continue crocheting 22 slip stitches using this method. In this round, all slip stitches except for the final one do not need to be tightened. This won't be repeated again in the following steps. After completing, we are now on the front part. Start with 3 slip stitches. Then, in the insertion point of the single crochet stitch on the left side, pull through 1 slip stitch, which is right here. This slip stitch corresponds to the stitch above. This also moves the yarn down to the bottom. Then continue crocheting 3 slip stitches horizontally. These 3 slip stitches correspond to the 3 stitches above. You need to crochet another slip stitch going downward to transition into the next round. Again, at the insertion point of the single crochet stitch on the left side. After completing it, continue with 6 horizontal slip stitches. This is the chin area. You can see that it forms a curve here. Next, you need to crochet symmetrically. Find the position above the left stitch. Crochet 1 slip stitch. The insertion point is on the upper left. After finishing, continue with 3 horizontal slip stitches. Then comes another slip stitch for transition downward. The entry position is on the upper left. After completing it, continue with 3 horizontal slip stitches. Here, pick up the stitch and crochet slip stitches. Now there's only 1 stitch remaining. Work a slip stitch. Finally, connect with the braid of the first slip stitch. Pull the slip stitch tight. The 21st round is now complete. Up to this point, the explanation for the lower part is finished. Next, we will crochet the upper part. For the upper part, there's no need to break the yarn, just continue crocheting. Below, we will start crocheting the first round. In this round, continue crocheting in front of the fabric. In this round, you need to pick up the braids from the slip stitches and crochet. First, make 1 chain to start. Then, work a SC2-in-1 on the first braid. It's right here. When picking up strands, be mindful not to pick the wrong one. After completing it, continue with another SC2-in-1. Similarly, pick up the braids from the previous round's slip stitches. After finishing the 2 SC2-in-1, continue crocheting 2 single crochets. Then, work 1 SC2-in-1. Followed by 14 single crochets. While crocheting, follow the braid formed by the slip stitch. Look everyone, this is what it looks like after completing 14 single crochets. Later on, you can refer to the diagram, follow the braid from the slip stitches, and complete all the remaining stitches in this round. End with the last SC2 in 1. That's how you finish the first round. For the following rounds, from the 2nd to the 7th, simply build upon the foundation of the first round. Just continue to refer to the chart and crochet upwards until finished. Now let's move on to the 8th round. I'll demonstrate again with a sample. First, make 1 chain as the beginning chain. Next, you need to crochet 3 slip stitches. Again, there's no need to tighten these 3 slip stitches. After completing the 3 slip stitches, continue crocheting the corresponding number of single crochets. After that, it's time for another 3 slip stitches. You also don't need to tighten it. After completing, continue to refer to the pattern and finish this round. Finally, tighten the joining slip stitch. That completes the 8th round. Now let's move on to the 9th row. Below, you need to crochet back and forth in rows. The 3 slip stitches at both ends are the dividing points. The area that needs crocheting are the single crochets in the middle. First, stretch the loop. Then thread the ball of yarn through the loop. Slightly tighten it. Then find the first single crochet on the right side of the front part. It's right here. Pull the yarn through. Don't pull the yarn too tight here. Start with one chain as your beginning chain. Then work at SC2 tog. Hook into the first single crochet stitch. Continue with an unclosed single crochet. Pull through all loops at once. 1 SC2 tog completed. Continue crocheting single crochets downward. After completing the corresponding number of single crochets, end the 9th row with a SC2 tog. Now let's start the 10th row. Again, to keep the texture consistent, you need to carry the yarn across. Enlarge the loop. Thread the yarn ball through the loop. Slightly tighten. Locate the first stitch. Draw the yarn through. Make sure not to pull the yarn too tight here. Then, chain 1 as the beginning chain. This row need to work single crochets correspondingly. Let's finish this row. Tidy up the yarn while crocheting. That's it for the 10th row. After completing the 10th row, now let's move on to the 11th row. Stretch the loop and carry the yarn across. Again, locate the first stitch of the previous row. Pull the yarn through. Chain 1 to begin. Start with a SC2 tog. Make sure to weave in the yarn as you go. Work single crochets evenly. End with another SC2 tog for the last stitch. Be careful not to miss any stitches while crocheting. After finishing, check the stitch count. This completes row 11. From row 12 to row 15. The crochet method is similar to row 11. You will decrease at the beginning and end, and work the corresponding number of single crochets in the middle. Remember to carry the yarn across during the process. Continue all the way through row 15. Look, this is what it looks like after completing 15 rows. Now let's start on row 16. Start by carrying the yarn across. Begin with 1 chain. Then work 2 SC2 tog. After that, you need to make 4 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's another 2 SC2 tog. 1, 2. Row 16 is now completed. Secure with a chain. Break the yarn. Since the wrong side will be facing outwards later, weave in the yarn tail on the right side. Now let's work on row 17. This row involves crocheting single crochets all around the outer edge. Locate the joining point from row 9. It's right here. We will start joining the yarn here. Insert the hook. Pull the yarn through. Make 1 beginning chain. Then work 1 single crochet in the same stitch. Pay attention to weaving in the ends while crocheting. Next, pick up the boundary of each row and work single crochets. There is no specific requirement for the insertion position here. Just keep the fabric flat. Now we have reached the corner. Here you need to work 2 single crochets. Then pick up each stitch and work single crochets in sequence. Similarly, at the corner on the left side, you also need to work 2 single crochets. Next, continue picking up the boundary of each row. Work single crochets correspondingly. Keep going until you reach the SC2 tog at the lower left corner. Now I have reached the corresponding position. Chain 1 to start. Turn the piece over. Work single crochets into each stitch in sequence for this row. Everyone can finish this row on your own. Secure with a chain. Break the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail on the right side in the same way. That's how you complete one of the pieces. The crocheting method for the other half piece is identical to rows 9 through 18. Here, I'll demonstrate the method for joining the yarn. Find the remaining strands on the fabric. Similarly, locate the position of the first single crochet on the far right. Right here. We'll start joining the yarn from this point. Draw the yarn through. Make 1 beginning chain. Then start working at SC2 tog. Pay attention to weaving in the ends while crocheting. Continue following the previous crocheting method. Crochet this half piece in the same way. Up to this point, the entire upper part has been fully explained. After completing the crocheting, turn the wrong side of the fabric outward. Trim all the yarn tails neatly. Next, let's make the ears. There are 2 ears. Use the magic ring method and crochet in rounds. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Here, for your convenience in watching, I will still use thick yarn for the demonstration. The colors are random. First, start with a magic ring. This indicates that the cast-on method is the magic ring. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Start casting on. That's it for the cast on. Next, crochet the first round. First, make one chain as the beginning chain for the single crochet, then start crocheting single crochets. Hook into the magic ring. One single crochet is completed. In total, you need to crochet 6 single crochets for the first round. Continue crocheting the remaining single crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The stitch pattern corresponding to the chart is now complete. After that, close the magic ring. There are 2 loops in total. First, gently pull the starting tail of the yarn. One of the loops is still active. Tighten the active loop. There is 1 loop left. Simply pull the tail tight. The loop is now closed. Next, slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch of this round to finish. Pull tight. Round 1 is complete. Now let's start crocheting round 2. In this round, you need to work into the corresponding stitches of the first round. Crochet 6 SC2 in 1. While crocheting, place the starting tail above the hook, and weave it in as you go. Complete this part on your own. End with a slip stitch. Pull tight. That's how you complete round 2. You can now cut off the starting tail. The crocheting method for the remaining rounds is similar to the main part. You will be crocheting corresponding single crochets, SC2 in 1, and SC2 tog. When you encounter a stitch symbol, the number before the symbol indicates how many times to work that stitch. When you come across parentheses, repeat the stitches inside the parentheses as many times as indicated. Everyone can finish the remaining rounds using this method. Here, I'll demonstrate the final yarn fastening method with a sample. The number of rounds here is not for reference. After completing the last round, pull the slip stitch tight. Finish with a chain to secure. Then leave about 30 centimeters of yarn tail before cutting the yarn. That concludes one ear. Everyone can complete the other ear using the same method. After finishing the ears, let's move on to making the arms. Here's what the finished product looks like. There are 2 arms. Both are crocheted in rounds starting with an edgish heart magic ring. The crochet method is similar to the ear. Refer to the chart and crochet accordingly. After completing, cut the yarn and weave in the ends. Next, sew on the metal frame. Attach the metal frame above the head's opening. The metal frame has these kinds of spaces. The side with the pattern is the right side. The other side is the wrong side. When sewing, place the wrong side of the metal frame facing outwards. Position it at the opening of the head. Place the edges of the fabric inside the metal frame. At the centered positions on both sides of the head, match them with the corresponding connection points on both sides of the metal frame. To make sewing more convenient, you can secure the 2 sides first. Then fix the front and back as well. While securing, try to tuck the last round of fabric into the metal frame as much as possible. Everyone, use this method to secure it properly. The centered positions on both sides must correspond accurately. This will prevent the metal frame from being misaligned with the body. Now the metal frame and fabric are secured. Next, let's start sewing. Take the corresponding yarn. Cut a length of yarn, about 7 times the circumference of the metal frame. Fold it in half to use. Tie a knot at the end. Then start sewing using the backstitch method. The sewing method for both the front and back of the metal frame is the same. I'll start with one side as an example. Bring the needle out from the first hole of the metal frame from behind. Leave a little yarn tail here. Then insert it into the hole on the left side. Pay attention to ensure the fabric is tucked in properly. And pass it through the reserved yarn tail. This will secure the thread in place. After completing, insert the needle into the fabric from the left side. Exit from the next hole. Then go back and insert the needle into the previous hole. Pull tight. This way, you've sewn another segment. Continue downward and exit through the hole on the left side of this segment. Mindful not to skip the fabric. Then insert it into the hole on the right side. Pull tight. This way, you've sewn another line segment. This back and forth sewing method is called backstitch. Repeat this process and continue sewing downward. Pay attention to adjusting the position while sewing. Ensure the fabric is evenly distributed. Avoid any shifting or misalignment. When you reach the securing spot, you can remove the fixed thread. Everyone, continue sewing downward. When you reach the space between fabrics, first take off the securing thread. There's no need to sew here. Carry the yarn across through the inside of the fabric, bringing it to the position of the other side of the metal frame. Tidy up the fabric. Come out from the right side of the metal frame. Continue picking up the holes and sewing small segments. The sewing method going forward is the same as before. Everyone, please sew this side together on your own. Finally, weave in the ends. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the metal clasp sewing. Remove the securing thread. Tidy up the shape a bit. That concludes the explanation of how to attach the metal frame.